Hello and welcome to Grim Survival. I'm back again with another video. Today is September 10th, 2019. I had to remember the year there because for some reason I forgot it. But today we're going to be talking about food shortages again because, well, that's just what we talk about around here, mostly because food is very important and we don't have enough of it. The sun is there. It's shining through the back window of my truck because I am earlier than I usually am here because my CrossFit class did not happen this morning. And yeah, I'm one of those people who exercise. It's odd. New hat. I will be talking about my new hat in a later video. I will do a review of it. It is the exact same as the old hat. Still has the light under it, made by the same people, just doesn't say that. This hat right here, you see this hat? This hat used to be the same color as this hat. Yeah. All right, let's get rid of that. All right, food shortages. Oh, at the end of the video, I'm going to address a comment I got on my one of my videos I thought was quite entertaining, and I will address that. I probably will rant about it and end up going off on somebody, but, you know, that's just what I do anyway, on a normal daily basis. Rant and go off on people. Usually they can't hear me because they're in front of me and I'm yelling at them, but, you know, I try at least. Anyway, moving on. Corn. I've got several videos of corn crops. I've been trying to compile them together and actually make a video out of it. Crop updates and what I see on a daily basis would be a lot easier if I could stop my truck and on the side of the road and start making videos of what I see, but it's kind of hard to film while holding a phone and driving and shifting a 10-speed transmission. That's what that is, 10 speeds. Yeah, it's kind of hard to shift that, hold the phone, steer, not run over a Prius all at the same time. I mean, I'm perfectly willing to sacrifice the Prius, but, you know, it leaves dents and stuff. So, bad idea. All right, food shortages, corn, point of no return. What do we mean by point of no return with the corn? That means that the days are too short. There's not enough light, there's not enough heat for the corn to reach full maturity. Already the corn was planted late, and I believe it was 2 to 3 weeks late, if not later than that. It might have been a month late, maybe even more in some areas. I can tell you corn in my area, for the most part, the majority of the corn I see is very immature. The corn should be 6 to 7 feet tall by now. You're lucky to get, you know, 4 feet if you're lucky. I'm still taller than most of the corn crops. That is not normal. Yeah, so point of no return. There's just not enough light left in the year. The days are getting shorter, as I'm sure you've noticed if you walk outside, you know, anytime in the morning, you will know that it is not light as it was at the same time anymore. I get in this truck approximately 6 a.m. every morning, and, well, a couple months ago, it was light when I was getting in the truck. Now it's like an hour and a half later. So days get shorter. It's a natural cycle of the planet. It happens. That guy's being very loud with his truck over there. I have to talk louder because I can't hear myself now. All right. I don't know if you can hear his truck. That's not mine. All right. Corn. No heat, no light. They just can't reach maturity. They just can't. So, the United States Farm Belt, as we call it, basically the Midwest, you know, that's the basic general area of it. Farm Belt is seeing the biggest disaster it has ever seen, according to most farmers. Disaster. They are actually calling it as a disaster. More canning facilities have shut down. People are shutting down their canning facilities because there's not anything to put in the cans. There's no food. There's no vegetables and fruits and things like that they usually can. So they have to shut down the facilities, which is a chain reaction. It's causing you know, steel workers and metal workers to go out of, or lay off, you know, people not completely go out of business, but lay off because they're losing some major accounts with making all these cans. This is caused by food shortages, which is crop loss and food shortages. It's all a chain reaction that affects the economy, etc., etc. We've talked about this in other videos. If you've watched them, you would know. If you didn't watch them, go watch them. You know, I make videos. Why not? All right, so we're already seeing frost descend across Canada. That's like, you know, what we were predicting anyway. Frost across Canada. Today, at September 10th, it's going to be 90 degrees in Chicago. So, grand solar minimum has taken a day off here. Whatever. It's supposed to be back in the 70s and lows in the 50s by next week here in the northern part of the Midwest, I suppose, Chicago area. So temperatures are fluctuating in September. Actually, today is one of the hottest days we've had in over a month in this area. So in September is looking to be a little hotter than August. Odd. But that's what's happening. Frost in Canada, though, and Spain. Last spring, April and May, they had a very bad frost in Spain. They are seeing the effects now. It has damaged most of their apple trees. Apple orchards all across Spain are not producing apples because of the spring frost they had. They're just the trees are damaged. There's a severe drought going on in Mexico right now that is affecting all the limes among everything. But the limes are taking the hardest hit for those people who like margaritas, or what I think it's margaritas they put limes in, right? I don't like limes. I don't drink margaritas or whatever that drink is that they put a lime in. I don't bother with that. So, the limes being killed off just doesn't really affect me in any sort of way. I'm sure there are people that depend on that for economic purposes to feed their families, not necessarily eating the limes, but money and all that. And we definitely want to pray for those people because they're losing all their crops. That cannot be good for them. But like I said, it doesn't affect me, fortunately for me. Eventually it will, because, well, it does affect me really, because food prices are going up in my local grocery store, Walmart, all across the country. Food prices are spiking. You can just see it. Speaking of which, in Australia, they have also drought, and they're expecting a drier than average spring next year, and they've already been experiencing a drier summer, and they're having a lot of trouble with their growing season, and they are warning, the government of Australia is warning their population to prepare for rising food prices. While the government of the United States is talking about what Trump had for breakfast or what Hillary sneezed out of her nose. I don't know what people talk about on the news anymore. I know they're not talking about food, and they're outright lying to us, because that's what our government does. They don't warn us about anything. They lie to us. They really start talking about it when it starts affecting stock prices, and that's why we know about the canneries being laying off people, and some of them actually shutting down more and more as the time progresses and we have less food to can. And the only reason we know about that is because it's affecting their stock prices, which is affecting their capital. And New York notices with the stock exchange, and people notice stock prices. They don't notice the fact that poor people are starving to death, but they notice stock prices. The world we live in, right? All right, I'm going through my notes. I got a lot of them today. If you want more information on a lot of this, you can check out Ice Age Farmer's channel. He posted a video yesterday or the day before. He talked about some of these shortages. Also, he talked about one thing he talked about in his video was China. And China is experiencing what is it called? The African swine fever, I believe they called it. So the pork population in China is completely wiped out. I don't know if we're talking 100% devastation, but there's no more pig in China. And if you ever had, American versions of Chinese food, they like putting pork in everything. That is a problem for China. So China, apparently, now this is according to the Ice Age Farmer's video that I watched this morning, listened to this morning. He was talking about donkeys. Apparently China has been acquiring donkeys from Kenya. They've taken 50% of Kenya's population of donkeys, which is a problem I'll talk about in a second. And China has been eating the donkeys. They've been using them as a delicacy. Mutton. Are you against eating donkey? I mean, people in the United States during the Great Depression used to eat donkeys, horses, cows, pigs, dogs, cats, chickens, turkeys, whatever. In the Great Depression, people were not picky eaters. I can tell you that much. You will see a time, again, where you will not be a picky eater. If there's something you really hate to eat, go a week without eating. You'll love it. I've been there. I've done that. It's not fun. But trust me, your palate changes. All right, Argentina. Frost. They had frost. It was yesterday or the day before. Within the last couple of days, a major frost has hit Argentina and killed many of their immature crops. Most of them. Their crops are just devastated in Argentina because of frost. People are beginning to light fires in their orchards. Big bonfires. Apologize for the CB. But, people on CBs. I turned it down. Anyway, where I was at. Fires in orchards. They're lighting big bonfires in apple orchards and other orchards to warm the trees so they don't die from the frost. The desperate times. So, yeah. Mexico, major drought. Australia. Canada's seeing frost. They're experiencing food shortages. We've had potato shortages all across. I forget where they said the potato shortages were. I think it was Canada also, but yeah. Potatoes are having a hard time growing. Basically, and I've said this in other videos, the growing areas are changing. The regions in which we grow. The farm belt is no longer the farm belt. The farm belt is now the dead corn belt because there's nothing growing there. It's dead ground. Grand solar minimum is to blame. This is not the first time our planet's experienced this cycle. Apparently, it has happened before, but we'd never had agriculture at rate that we have it now, how we have it now. So with the massive 1,000-acre farms, every other, you know, block basically is how you look at it. If you look at it from an aerial view, it's just a bunch of squares of farms. They're all about 1,000 acres. You know, anywhere between 500 and 1,000 acre farms. They cannot just pack them up and move them. They can't. They cannot move their equipment. They can't prepare their soil. Even their supposed GMO crops are failing. And that's something I do find really interesting that I haven't mentioned in any other videos. Is I drive around a lot of cornfields. I've drove, you know, for years, and I've passed cornfield after cornfield in so many different states for many years. And I used to be on, and I still do from time to time, not as much as before, but I like to go on the GMO rants where I talk about how, you know, the GMOs are causing cancer and killing everybody and making everybody stupid. And it is true. I can show you documentaries and blah, blah, blah. But the point of the matter is all these crops that I've passed every other year have had these big signs every so many yards that, you know, list where they got their seeds from, what GMO crop they're using this year, what company sold them their seeds that glow in the dark, and they got to stand out there in hazmat suits to plant them. You know, I've seen videos, but yeah, that may be an exaggeration, but I have seen videos of hazmat suits being used to spray pesticides on your corn that you eat, and, you know, but it's safe, right? Anyway, the point being is we're all SOL. We're all just screwed. Even if you have a stockpile of food, unless you know how to grow food the next year, and even if you know how to grow food the next year, unless you have greenhouses or the way to grow food, because if you live in an area like I do in the Midwest, growing things isn't as easy as it was last year. It isn't as easy as it was the year before that. And growing things is not an easy task to begin with. So making it even harder, a lot of people's crops are going to fail when it comes to time to plant your own garden next spring, because the growing season has changed. It's cooler in the spring, it's cooler in the fall, it's cooler during the summer, and that greatly affects your maturity level of all of your plants, not just corn, but anything you plant: corn, soy, potatoes, anything you plant. In Indiana, we've been able to grow strawberries for many years. We've had temperatures in the 80s and 90s throughout the summer that has allowed us to grow strawberries. You need warmer temperatures for strawberries. We are not growing strawberries this year, I can tell you that much. Anybody who had strawberry plants probably have noticed that they are either not producing or they just decided not to live anymore, like a lot of people do. Yeah, we won't go there. Suicide hotline. All right, so that brings me to my rant. I had a comment on YouTube. I dropped something. I had a comment on YouTube, I think it was yesterday, one of my videos, two of my videos actually, from a person who I won't mention because I don't remember their name. And the comment, I remember the gist of it, but not exactly what they said, and I'm not going to bother reading it. Basically, they asked me if I was ever going to make any videos that was of me showing any survival skills or doing anything besides sitting in my truck giving commentary. My response to that is no. I had every intention on going into the woods on the weekends and showing you the survival skills that I have and showcasing what I can and cannot do in the woods. But yeah, I just don't have time. I work what is called a job, and in a job, what we do is we show up here every day even though we don't want to. And at my particular job, I'm gone for 12 to 14 hours every day, and that is gone from my house. And I actually work this job at least 12 hours a day, so that puts me gone at least 13 hours on a daily basis. Being 60 to 70 hours a week I work, because sometimes I actually work the weekends too, I would like for me just to challenge the person who made the comment to go ahead and support me for a couple of months, and I will make all the videos of showing you all the skills I have, all you want. I will build you a house in the woods. I will go out there and catch fish like you wouldn't believe, because I can. I can hunt, I can fish, I can build fires, I can build primitive shelters, I can do all the things, as Bear Independent would say. BearIndependent.com, check him out. I can do all the things. I really can. I can shoot straight too. But, you know, the point of the matter is I work for a living, so I don't have time to make YouTube videos. YouTube wants to pay me to make videos, then I will be happy to walk out into the woods for you. Otherwise, all you're getting from me is commentary from my truck, and occasionally I will sit in my computer and compile a video of things I have recorded while in my truck. So if that's not good enough for you, you are welcome to see yourself out. Okay, that's about as much as I get for ranting on YouTube. I could probably rant a lot better, but you know, I would have to flag the video as adult content. There would be lots of cussing involved, and people would be called names, and judgments would be thrown, and then I'd have to repent and say I'm sorry, and it's just a hassle I don't want to deal with. So keep in mind that if you have not subscribed yet, you're going to die eventually, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe beforehand. Thank you. Have a good day.